Exodus 19-40, God's Presence, Covenant, and the Tabernacle Part 1, Arriving at Sinai and God's Dramatic Presence, Exodus 19. The story resumes as Israel, rescued dramatically from Egyptian slavery, journeys across the wilderness and sets up camp at the foot of Mount Sinai. Here, the people experience something overwhelming. God's presence comes down on the mountain in the form of a fierce storm cloud filled with thunder and lightning. This is a moment of awe. God himself is drawing near to his people. This echoes back to Eden, showing God's desire to restore the closeness humanity once had with him. The Israelites are stunned by God's power, reminded that after generations of distance since Eden, God's presence is not only real but truly awe-inspiring. Part 2. God gives the covenant and laws. Exodus 20-24. The scene at Sinai sets the stage for one of the Bible's most crucial moments. God offers Israel a covenant, a formal relationship or legal agreement. God gives Moses the 10 Commandments and a range of other laws and instructions. For the first time, God is asking something from Israel in return for his faithful rescue. He wants them to trust and obey, to be a kingdom of priests. Their obedience will mean becoming a light to the nations, representing God on earth. However, the demands are high, and even though Israel has just witnessed God's mighty works, they still find the closeness of God's presence frightening. The responsibility is both a privilege and a weight. Moses acts as an intermediary. The people are afraid to draw near, so he alone goes up the mountain to meet with God. But God's desire is not to remain separate. He wants to dwell among all his people, not just Moses. This longing for connection moves the story forward. Part 3. Instructions for the Tabernacle. God's dwelling among his people. Exodus 25-31. To bridge that separation, God gives Moses incredibly detailed instructions to build a tabernacle, a portable sanctuary. The design of this tent is filled with images that call back to God's original creation in Eden. Every detail matters. Wood, gold, curtains, lampstands. Inside the tent, Eden is symbolically restored, making it clear that wherever God's people camp, his presence is right in their midst. The tabernacle is to be the special meeting place for God and the Israelites, a sign of his faithfulness and closeness. Part 4. Israel's failure. The golden calf and covenant broken. Exodus 32-34. Even with all this promise and presence, Israel stumbles. As Moses receives the stone tablets and tabernacle blueprints on the mountain, the people below lose patience and make a golden calf to worship, directly violating the first 2 commandments. In an instant, the newly formed relationship between God and Israel is shattered by idolatry. God is deeply grieved. Right after rescuing his people and inviting them into relationship, they turn away from him. Moses pleads with God on behalf of Israel, reminding him of his promises to Abraham. This prayer is not only a testament to Moses' leadership, but also reveals something of God's heart. Although angry and hurt, God chooses to remain faithful to his promises, even though it will mean pain and sacrifice for him. It's a vulnerable moment, exposing the cost and patience of divine love. Part 5. The tabernacle is built and God's presence descends. Exodus 35-40. Despite their failure, Israel gets a second chance. The people respond, bringing offerings and skill to build the tabernacle exactly as God commanded. The text details the painstaking process, showing that each element is intentionally crafted to welcome God's holy presence. At last, the tabernacle is finished. In a dramatic conclusion, God's glory comes down from the mountain and fills the tabernacle, a visible sign that God has forgiven and remains with his people. Yet in the final scene, when Moses attempts to enter, he cannot go in. After all that work, all that hope, the book ends on this haunting note. Moses, Israel's leader and intercessor, is still unable to step fully into God's presence. The breach in the relationship caused by sin remains. The question lingers: what will it take to truly restore the closeness that God and humanity once shared? Reflection Exodus 19-40 is a powerful story of divine nearness and human weakness. God's longing is for his people to dwell with them, guide them, and bless the world through them. But even after rescue and covenant, the human heart proves weak and unfaithful, easily distracted and quick to forget God's goodness. Yet God responds not by giving up, but by renewing his commitment, making a way first with the tabernacle, soon with even greater means to bridge the gap. This passage invites us to reflect on both the seriousness of sin and the depth of God's faithful love. Where do we find ourselves in this story? How do we respond when God's presence feels near or distant? And are we willing to accept his invitation to live as a kingdom of priests, distinct, but welcoming his nearness? Simple prayer, closing. Gracious God, thank you for your relentless love and desire to dwell with us, even when we fail or turn away. Forgive us for the times we allow other things to take your place. Give us hearts that seek your presence, and help us walk faithfully as your people, representing you to the world. Please continue to bring us closer to you and fill our lives with the light of your presence. Bless everyone listening with a deeper sense of your nearness and truth. Amen. Outro. Teaser for next episode. The story of Exodus ends with God's presence filling the tabernacle, but Moses still standing on the outside. Why can't he go in? What does it really take for people to dwell in God's holy presence? In the next episode, we'll move into the book of Leviticus and discover God's surprising plan for healing the breach and making a way for his people. Don't miss where the journey leads next. Subscribe and join us as the story continues.